Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Dropping into Happiness. We are your hosts. I am Rachel.
And I'm Maggie.
Welcome, Sundrops. Oh, and if you're new, that's what we like to call you guys. Y'all are our Sundrops because we love you guys so much. You're just a little ray of sunshine. But hello, friends. Welcome. Today is October 19th. This is episode 42. I still cannot believe how high we up. I just had somebody say the other day, "Oh my gosh, you have a podcast." And I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "How many episodes?" I'm like, "Got like almost 50 episodes now, so lots to listen to." Yeah, it's wild. It's gone by so quickly.
And it's really sad how fast October's going by. I can't believe it'll be October 19th when this episode goes live because I love October and I don't like that it's already the 19th. I want time to slow down. But okay.
I know. And it still doesn't feel like fall here in Southern California. And you're in a very similar climate than me, even though we're on opposite sides of the U.S. Yeah. I mean, does it feel like fall to you guys yet? Like weather-wise?
The biggest moment that makes it feel like fall, or I should say the biggest shift, is when the humidity drops. And it's just not, so it's still in the high 80s, but it's not as humid. So you don't immediately sweat when you walk outside.
Yeah.
So,
I know it's because it's a very dry heat here. We don't usually get a lot of humidity, but it's 74 here right now in the middle of the day, and that's very exciting because
wow, that is like fall here.
I know. Like if I get to wear a little zip up hoodie in the morning and then the evenings, I am digging it. Yeah,
yes,
I love it.
Definitely.
I like the other day I had a little sweater on all day, and I told my husband I've had sleeves on all day. Like that was big.
Good news. I saw someone I follow who lives in Minnesota, and they were like, "I'm still wearing flip-flops in October in Minnesota." And they're like, "It's unseasonably warm here." And I'm like, "Oh, because I wear flip-flops all year round."
What's weird in like Minnesota though is they'll go from 80 to 40 to 75. Like it's like because one of our other coworkers lives there, and her and I were talking about that the other day, how it's just like rapid. It'll go really high to really low to really high to really low.
Weather whiplash.
Right? Yeah. It's like, how do you plan for that? I don't even know. But I mean, we talked about many episodes ago how the heat affects me. And now that it's really officially cooling down, I'm like, okay, I feel like I can get back to a regularly scheduled program. And I know that's a lame excuse. I know, but it really does affect me. It does. So I know this is super duper 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 off topic, but I think a lot of everybody knows that I'm a Potterhead, which essentially means I'm a diehard Harry Potter fan, and Maggie is a Disney adult. You know exactly what I'm saying. Yes, Hagrid passed away today. I know.
On the day we're recording, October 14th.
Yes. And it just, there's me and two other people at the radio station that were just like in tears and like talking about like our favorite Hagrid moments. And when he was in the 20th anniversary special, and he was like, I'm going to try not to cry. He was like, 50 years from now, I won't be here, but Hagrid still will be.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I know.
Look, we lost Loretta Lynn, Angela Lansbury.
I was saying Mrs. Potts. Yeah.
Yeah, and Hagrid, all in like within a week span. I can't take this anymore. If 2022 takes Dolly Parton from me, I will implode on myself. There will be no more Maggie of Dropping into Happiness. I will be dropping into despair. Despair.
No. Well, and I mean, I'm in radio, and we just lost Art LeBeau too. Art LeBeau just passed away. I know. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's been a rough week, man. Rough week, but all right, guys. As I mentioned a couple of episodes ago, I asked our glorious Sundrops for some episode ideas. So Katie K and Amy N, y'all both basically asked the same question. So you were asking us how we navigate maintenance. And so me personally, currently in maintenance, like for those who are on WW, we in the app you can be in weight loss mode or maintenance mode. Like it changes your amount of daily points. It kind of changes the way that we look at our day. And Maggie, you are still in weight loss mode, correct?
Mm-hmm. So but I've successfully maintained my weight loss for oh gosh, it'll be 2 years in February, so well over a year now. Yay me!
So there's a few different ways to look at maintenance. So I feel like there's intentional maintenance. I feel like there's unintentional maintenance. And then kind of what you're saying right now, like look, even though I'm still in weight loss mode, I have maintained that momentum of my weight loss, of my wellness, of my healthy living. And guys, Maggie and I kind of fall on opposite ends of this one, because before we started recording, I told her, I genuinely feel, for me personally, that maintenance has been way harder than weight loss mode. I really do. So I hope I don't scare anybody into thinking, oh man, I'm going to go through all this and then it's going to get harder. That's just for me personally. Like, I know I have found a good balance with a lot of things, but sometimes my brain is still going a little too far, a little too far, a little too far. Where with weight loss mode, I had a better limit, I guess, for myself. So it was easier to be like, stop here. And with maintenance, I think I push the boundaries a little bit more. So what do you think, Maggie? You think it's perspective, right? Like it's
right. I think they're both equally the same. And why I think that is because I think it was like week 1 or week 2 of my journey, I either heard in a workshop or heard it on Instagram. I can't remember the exact source, but someone said, do in weight loss mode what you intend to do in maintenance, because this journey is for the rest of your life. And so I just looked at, okay, I am maintaining healthy behaviors. I'm learning how to build actual habits that are non-negotiable. They're just like a part of my day-to-day routine. And for a while, a byproduct of that will be weight loss, and eventually I'll just switch my app and I'll get a few more points a day and nothing will change. So for me, that's the mentality. Now, I haven't entered my goal maintenance, so I can't speak to that, but I've successfully maintained 100-pound weight loss, within 5 pounds or so. And really, I haven't felt that it's any harder. It's just a continuation. So I think when you're in weight loss mode, if you're thinking, oh, I'm going to get to maintenance and then I'm going to be good and everything will be fine, well, then you're setting yourself up, I think, for a harder maintenance experience, because you're going to realize like, oh, snap, like I have to continue doing these things forever. And so that's why I really prefer my slow and steady race, because the adjustments are so gradual that it doesn't feel like a major life shift. And so whenever I get to goal, I think like I will have gotten there so steadily that I'll just continue on with a few extra points. For those that are curious, with WW, you just get 5 extra points a day. So 35 a week, math, 35 extra a week. Of course, with personal points, we can build our budget exponentially depending upon our activity levels and our veggie consumption and water intake per day. But so I think I'm just telling myself that it's not necessarily harder, so that when I get to that official season of life, it's just like, okay, we're rolling along.
Well, you know what? Okay, like I said, for me personally, and like as we're talking this out, I'm recognizing something that had shifted in my life. So when I lost the 100 pounds, I was still working from home. We were still like primarily no contact around here. And in the last year, when it's become a little bit more complicated and difficult, I've been working at the radio station. Like we've been going into the building now. And so I built all of these habits in the context of being within my own home primarily. So I maybe I need to not start over, but I need to build some new habits with this new environment. You know what I mean? Because the habits I had built before they're not sufficient for being out in the world. Like it's a little different now. So I think that's what I've been trying to do. That's why it's been so complicated. I've been trying to utilize my healthy habits that I built when I was working from home, and that's not working for me being in the building. I need to shift into a different mindset for that. So,
I think that's
light
really
bulb,
good.
Bing! Yeah. It's just like, that's why we talk things out, guys.
Right, that's a really good observation because it's true for both Rachel and I that the majority of our weight loss happened in the height of the pandemic. And
Yeah.
I went back to, okay, so we shut down March of 2020. I was
Mm-hmm.
back teaching in person full time by August of 2020, but I had by that point
Wow.
I already lost like 70 pounds by that point.
Yeah.
So, the 30, the follow was a lot more gradual. And then I've just been steadily, slowly losing after that benchmark.
Yeah.
But I agree that there was like a transitional moment for, okay, like, what is life on program now? Because life on program during a pandemic when we're in the height of lockdown versus when I'm working full time outside of my
Mm-hmm.
house, that's a different life on program. And so I think too, what can help, again, I feel like a lot of this work has to happen in weight loss mode for us to have a successful maintenance period, is we
Yeah.
have to look at this as this is just life on program. It's not a singular season of time. It's
Yeah.
life on program, and life goes through different changes and we have to adjust
Yeah.
with those changes. And we've had podcasts on schedule changes. We've had
Mm-hmm.
podcasts on quote unquote plateaus, which I think speaks more towards
We
unintentional
have.
maintenance,
Yeah.
right? But I think if we look at the behaviors that we know keep us successful, for me that's tracking my food honestly, that's moving my body, 4 to 5 days a week, that's drinking my water. If I'm looking those as like self-care or self-hygiene, like brushing my teeth or
Mm-hmm.
um you know going to
Yeah.
bed or getting whatever the case may be,
Yeah.
then we think, okay, well, this is just my routine and it's something that I do consistently, so therefore maintenance will be manageable,
Yeah.
because I've approached it that way versus like, oh, got to goal, done, woohoo, and then we didn't really focus on building the long term sustainable habits. So
Two
that's my
things.
perspective anyway. Yeah.
Um, you said tracking honestly, which I've been trying not to use that word because I feel like then if I'm not, I'm dishonest. And
Mm.
I'm going to give a shout out to my girl, Jen D, who has shifted that speech into fearlessly. She's going to fearlessly track. So with no fear, just tracking all of it, like the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows. So I'm like, I've really been digging that term instead of honestly with fearlessly. I just like that.
Do you
But
just feel like calling yourself dishonest is harmful?
yeah, I know it's like, you're not even saying it, but I feel like fearlessly sounds stronger. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, I feel like that's a stronger emotion because I'm overcoming this fear of, oh, I don't want to see that. And like, yeah, I don't want to feel like, okay, well, if I'm not doing this and I'm being dishonest, like, I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like that,
Yeah.
that just the phrase. That's just me personally. Because,
Yeah.
even
Whatever
little
works.
things, little things can shift our mindset. But you like nail on the head to what I was just talking about this last weekend in workshops. Like I've done a wellness journey 3 times. And my first 2 times, I know exactly what failed for me, I guess, is, I don't really like that word, but why it didn't progress, why it didn't stick was because I had that mentality of, cool, I'm going to get to this goal and then I'm all done.
Mm-hmm.
And I would stop doing those things. I would stop eating the foods. I would literally go back to what I was doing before, which got me to that weight in the first place. And then be like, I don't understand. Why did all the weight come back? And so this last time when I signed up in January 2020, like that was the shift that I had to make was, oh, I'm not depriving myself. I'm not on a diet. Like these are just really great habits that I'm going to build forever. And so, right, like you said, like when we're slow and steady building these little habits to the point where they just feel like second nature. Because like I said, even with the struggle of going back into the building, I can't tell you how often I always have a water bottle with me. And, I think I've said like at the station, I park across the street by a different business so that I have to walk across the street and then I go to the back of the building to go in the door. I could easily go out the front door, but I go back, then out back. And that's just what I do. It's just become a habit. It's where I park. It's how I go in the door because I have built that into just such an easy habit, but I help myself get those little extra steps, just a little bit more. And, yeah.
Yeah, I started thinking when you were mentioning about the power of words like saying tracking honestly versus dishonestly or fearlessly versus, I guess, fearfully, would be, you said like maintenance is harder. And I think like the challenges that we experience in maintenance mode are valid, just like challenges we would experience in weight loss mode are valid. But I think if we tell ourselves something's harder, it's going to be harder.
Yeah.
And I think the power of just saying like, no, I got this. It's just a maintenance of my habits and behaviors that I've been working on for X amount of time. I might have a little bit of friction that I didn't experience in the past, or I might have to make some adjustments, but it's not harder. It's just.
Well, and that could be a residual fear. Cause like I just said, the past 2 times I went back, and I think the hardness I'm feeling is the fear that I will revert. I think that, you know what I mean? Because when I'm in full blown weight loss mode, I'm like, I got this. But then when this has to be, oh, this is just my life. And I know the last 2 times when I got to that point, it just all went away. I think that's a fear, which makes the challenge surface. You know what I mean? And I know that's all in my head. It really, really is. But I mean, our talks, that we talk together, I have a couple of friends that are accountability buddies with. My mom and my sister are accountability buddies, and going to my WW workshops and like working out the techniques every weekend, setting goals and just writing it out. Like a couple nights ago, I have a computer journal. So I type it because I can type almost as fast as I think. And I cannot write as fast as I think. So I like to type it. But I have, because it's called My Day. I love the My Day. Maybe that should have been my recommendation this week. My Day is an app, and you do have to pay for it. I think it's like $12 a year or something. So it's really, really nice. You can add pictures, you can add videos, you can add all sorts of links and stuff to this. And but I have multiple. So I have one that's for my journey. I have one that's just for like my life, so I can talk about my job and how I'm feeling. And so I journaled for how I'm feeling like as a person right now. And then I journaled again the same evening for how I'm feeling with my journey. And I really needed to do that the other day and write it out. And I wrote down, because we've just like the last couple weeks in WW workshops, we've been talking about fuel and friction, right? What's causing friction in our life, which is anything that can make something not happen, or what fuel can I add to this to make certain actions easier? And I wrote them all out. I wrote out all of the things that I felt like were causing me friction. And instead of just saying, cool, these were the things that are causing me friction, I then responded with, okay, how can I add fuel to that? And I wrote them out, and that felt good. That felt good to do. So I think I'm going to keep sticking with that and reevaluating just weekly, like what's my fuel? What's my friction? How am I going to address this? And so not exactly a goal, but just evaluating what my week is looking like, what's getting in my way, what's causing a challenge, and
shout out Kim. She always says, get curious. I think that's more of what you're doing there, is getting curious. And when
asking questions.
Right. I've talked about it before, but when we get curious, when we identify something that is working, then we understand the value of it. And then we're more likely to do the wash, rinse, and repeat versus if we're just on autopilot and things happen to go well that week, we don't necessarily understand what pieces made the biggest impact with the puzzle, right? So then we just kind of go into the next week, and we might miss one step, but that step was the most pivotal step in making the week fueled rather than full of friction. So I think that's great that you're taking the time to do that reflection. And so really, I think what it comes down to, y'all, is like understanding as you approach your maintenance aspect of the journey, in theory, nothing really changes other than you do get a few extra points a day, and you want to make sure that the choices that you're making, whether you're in weight loss mode or maintenance mode, are choices that you feel comfortable with for life. Like not giving up certain foods, or, looking at, okay, how can I handle this party as a healthy person? Not how can I handle this party as someone in weight loss mode or someone in maintenance mode. It's just, I'm a healthy person, navigating these life experiences, wanting to do it in a healthy way. So,
well, and I don't even think it has to be with just food in general. I mean, that could be when it comes to your activity levels. I mean, we have seen people get very passionate about their activity, which is awesome, but to the point where they were almost harming themselves. And they were like, and then they would get to a point where it was just like, oh, I can't do it anymore. And they just stopped all of it. Have you ever seen that movie? It's on Amazon Prime called Brittany Runs a Marathon.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
Don't you love that movie? And I love that it was inspired by a real person. But where my brain went with that is, if anybody's ever seen this movie, or if you haven't, she got to a point where she was trying to train excessively to where she ended up physically damaging. Did she get
I think she injured her foot
she
or something.
fractured her leg by the muscles pulling on it so hard. She had like a stress fracture in her leg, and she couldn't run the marathon. And so then in her brain it was like, well, I guess I'm just done. I just can't do it anymore. And for like months she just like threw in the towel because it was like an all or nothing, because it's not something that we can just gradually build into our day. Like it like, yeah. So I think when it comes to like food or activity, like we gotta keep that mindset of, what can I do for the long term? Can I do 25,000 steps a day every day? Probably not.
Yeah. And so that's like for me, like a lot of the, like I'll hear other folks sharing goals and I think, oh, wow, that's really awesome for you. But like, no way am I doing that, because I know that I'm not going to be able to keep up with it. And even like this dopey challenge that I'm doing, I mean, I ask myself every day, like, what have you done? Why, like this, because it's not sustainable. Luckily for me, there is a finish line and I will get to decide if I ever do this again or not. But like the amount of activity level that I have to do, it's just not sustainable for what would be my activity maintenance journey, like long term. So it's like asking ourselves what's doable, not even in weight loss mode, but in maintenance mode, I think is so important. And I want to touch on unintentional maintenance before we like run out of our quote unquote time that Rachel and I, even though we get to decide how long we record. But with unintentional maintenance, we have an episode about what most folks call plateauing. And I'm sure Rachel will link that for us in the show notes. You can refer back to, because we don't remember the number. But we talked about it fairly recently, and really I think it's a perspective shift too. Like, someone recently celebrated 5 years on WW, and they'd kind of been like hitting a funk the past couple of weeks and, facing some challenges and things like that. And they're like, wow, I'm just so glad I'm, experiencing these challenges where I'm at right now and not at my starting weight. And it was like, I just feel the same way. I feel that so deeply because, in theory, like some folks would have made it to goal by now in my shoes, but I'd rather be where I'm at than where I started. And I'd rather just protect that and be thankful for that than like beat myself up over not having lost X amount of pounds in X amount of months, So I think that it's a good thing when you're able to successfully maintain any amount of weight loss, because you're proving to yourself that you can do it and you know what that looks like, compared to maybe, consistent weight losses. So I think it's a positive thing. You want to look at it as more of a positive than a negative, because we just talked about celebrating and positivity versus negativity, beating ourselves up for things we didn't do or didn't accomplish. So yeah.
Well, okay, I had something in my brain and now it's gone.
Come back.
I know. Oh, here we go. Okay. See? So that's something I feel like I do try to reiterate, especially in our WW workshops. Like, it cracks me up when some people are like, I lost 100 pounds, but I put 40 back on. Can you believe that? And I was like, do you know what I'm hearing from you right now is, homie, you've kept off 60. Like, they're not thinking about like what they have still maintained. They're just like, oh, can you believe that? And I'm like, okay, but you've kept off 60. Like, we had said, we were just talking about celebrating the positivity, but remember in the episode on BLTs, that wasn't that long ago either, how we were talking about that, those BLTs, it's not a lot in reference to unintentional maintenance. There's not a lot more points that you get for maintenance. So it's easy to kind of, if we're not paying attention, to oversee that and get into an unintentional maintenance. Yeah. But friends, I mean, back to that positivity. I mean, I know we are very glass half full people. Maintenance is still a good thing. Like, you're not putting it all back on, are you? No, you're maintaining it.
It's healthy for your body to learn that, because I think about how most of my life I fluctuated between 250 to 300 pounds, like back and forth, crash diet, this crazy workout program, this and that. And that wasn't healthy for my body to go through those drastic shifts in weight. And whether you're 250 pounds or 180 pounds or wherever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's healthy for your body to learn how to just chill out for a little bit. Especially if you are someone like me who did yo-yo diet, or just yo-yo in your weight based off of your lifestyle or what you were, going through. It's good for your body to just chillax for a little bit. So whether that's intentional or not. And really too, we talked about the tracking and the BLTs and things, but sometimes your body just stays the same even if you stayed exactly within your budget. Or even if you went under your budget. Because I know some folks are thinking, oh, well, I maintain my weight, so I must eat less. And then it doesn't work out, which we've talked about. So it's normal for your body to do that as well. So again, look at it as a celebration and a practice for the long term.
Oh, yeah.
Because again, y'all, and I've asked this in my workshops before, like, who wants to lose weight? Folks raise their hands and I'm like, and who wants to keep it off? And all of the hands are raised. And so that's why I think prepping for maintenance starts in weight loss mode. So, I'm just anybody out there who's listening, who's in this similar season to me, where we're not at goal weight or close to goal weight, just start thinking about, okay, how can I make this work for the rest of my life if I'm doing anything right now that I know I couldn't keep up with? For years, don't bother.
Let's take a look at it. Yeah.
It's not worth it because sure, you might lose a couple extra pounds that week or that month.
But then when you can't maintain that, those couple can come back and then you feel like it's so, let's not.
It's a vicious cycle. So I feel like maintenance success starts in weight loss mode, believe it or not, y'all. And then if you're someone out there who's navigating maintenance, just like in weight loss mode, self-compassion, grace, so important. It's normal for your body to fluctuate 5 to 10 pounds during different seasons of life. I know WW, the weight maintenance range is the 2 pounds above, 2 pounds below. But, it's normal to have fluctuations outside of that. And that's why I think, too, for anybody out there that's listening that is a WW member and a lifetime member, don't feel obligated to stick to the WW suggested goal weight range. If you talk to your doctor and find a realistic number, you can always go under that. But sometimes the scale or the goal weights based off of the BMI might be a low weight, but might not be your happy, healthy, maintainable weight. So if maybe you're someone out there who has chosen a goal weight and you're consistently 5 to 10 pounds above, no matter what you seem to do, maybe that's just not your goal weight. Maybe you need to adjust it so it feels sustainable and realistic for you,
Well, we've just been talking about that this week too in WW. Like, my journey is not going to look like your journey, and your healthy weight's not going to look like my healthy weight. Like, don't look to other people and their goals and their final as what you should be doing, because everybody is different. That's why the new program is called Personal Points. Because portion sizes are personal. Your points are personal. Your weight is personal. The size of your clothes is personal, because 2 people could wear the same size clothes and look completely different. Don't look to others and think, oh, that's what I should look like, or that, you know what I mean? No.
Right.
Find you're happy, healthy. So.
And I think also I would assume, because again, I'm 29 for those that are listening. Well, I guess that's all of you. I don't know. That didn't make sense. But I'm 29. And so I know my maintenance weight at 35 might be completely different than my maintenance weight at 55. Right? Or my maintenance weight before kids versus my maintenance weight after kids. I think too, like, not only can we not compare ourselves to others, but don't compare yourselves to previous journeys. I know that there's friends out there on WW who've been on and off WW for 30 plus years, right? Don't hold yourself to the goal weight you had 30 years ago. If you're having a hard time maintaining that, it's probably not the goal weight for you.
Well, even to those habits. I mean, me and another member were talking about that the other day. She had built these amazing habits, but then met her now husband, and then they moved, and then she changed jobs, and she has to reevaluate her habits now, and she had to shift them, and that's okay, so All right, guys, we do need to get into our STAR goals and recommendations. So I'm tapping Maggie, and I'm saying you go first.
Yay. So I'm, if y'all listen to the episode at the beginning of October, I'm doing the Hottie Glow Up Challenge. So I've been doing well with that. I don't even remember what day we're on. It's like week 2, day 5, something like that.
Yeah.
But it's going well, and so hitting all the benchmarks for that challenge. But this coming weekend, after this episode's gone live, I will be on a work conference. So I would just like to hit pause before I make my food choices this week and make sure that I'm really making the decision that's going to give me the most peace.
Yay.
Yay. Oh, and then my recommendation, y'all, is a seasonally appropriate one. If you don't know, I'm a Built Bar ambassador, and Built Bars are protein bars. They also have what are called Built Puffs, which are also a bar, but they have like a marshmallowy, puffy inside. And they have right now limited edition, the pumpkin pie Built Puff, and it's 5 personal points on WW. If you count calories, it is 140 and 17 grams of protein, and it's covered in white chocolate, and it tastes amazing, especially if you're someone who likes Premier Protein, the pumpkin pie or pumpkin spice Premier Protein. You will definitely like this. It's a little, in a pumpkin pie, they have the allspice and like the nutmeg and stuff. It's really like allspice forward, but you still get the pumpkin. So definitely recommend. And my code MAGGIETRACKSMAGIC saves you 10%. Woohoo!
It's like, oh my gosh. Well, I made Maggie go first because it totally ties into what my star goal is for this week. And especially with going to work and being at the station a lot more than I used to. And I'm a snacky person, and especially if I'm working and I'm getting irritable, that's just something I like to do. So I need a snack. I need another snack, something I can keep at work, that's easy for me to grab, that's lower in points. That I want to try a new snack this week. But obviously when we say a star goal, we got to be more specific. So I want to try that snack. I was like, that's my goal. And then she's like, oh, I want to recommend this. I was like, now that's what I want to try. So now I want to order some of the things. I'm going to use Maggie's code so I can get my code so I can get me some Built Puffs. And I was going to, for my recommendation, I was going to say, what Maggie said and like be the Built Puffs, which is very exciting. But as I was talking and I mentioned my journal, because, not everybody can write it out. Like I said, I tend to type better than I write, and I like having videos and pictures and all sorts of things. And so my day calendar, like I said, I have it in a Mac, but I believe you can download it. You can even put it on your phone and have it synced to your computer. So say you're out and about and you want to add to it. If you got on your computer, it would match there as well. I usually just do it on my laptop because I really enjoy like typing it out. But like I said, you can have different kinds, different levels, however many you need. It's really, really nice for anybody who's looking to, and you can even lock it. Like you can have a code, so people have to have a code to get in there, look at it. So for privacy settings, it's one I've used for many years now. And so, my day, it's an app. I'll find it online and I'll put the link to it in the show notes as well. So, yay. Woo! All right, guys. I know 2 minutes over on our time. Dang it. I'm sorry. All right. Well,
I think they'll forgive us.
I think so, because they're pretty great. All right, guys. Well, it is time to wrap it up. So thanks for dropping by.
Have a magical day, y'all.
Bye.